Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to give a talk here. So I'm a PhD student at IISER Thiruvananthapuram, and I have today my talk is based on this paper we have recently submitted. And I have done this work with my supervisor, Shaumen Basak, and Tuhin Ghosh at IISER, and also Devabrata Adak and Srijita Shina. So the title of my talk is Optimal Frequency Range for Thermal Dust Removal. Now, this is just an overview of my talk. So I will introduce certain topics which are relevant, such as what are the CMB B-modes and what is CMB Bharat, CMB Foregrounds, as the motivation behind our work. Then I will briefly mention the methodology we have used for this, and then I will summarize the result and then summarize. Okay. So the first slide is, it coincides with what Mayuri talked about. So as you have already heard that inflation is the paradigm where our universe went through exponential expansion. And one of the ways to kind of pinpoint the inflationary models is by detecting the CMB B-mode signal. And also the CMB, so when we are talking about CMB B-mode signal, we are interested in this parameter known as the tensor to scalar ratio, which parameterizes the power of the CMB B-mode. So what are the challenges in its detection? So as you all know that the Planck had already mapped out the temperature maps with a very high sensitivity, but the polarization observation is noisy. And even in the polarization observation, you can kind of get the E mode and B mode, and B mode is supposed to be very faint. So when we are talking about temperature, it's about 300 microkelvin, and then the B mode signal is around 300 nanokelvin or less, according to the current limits. So this is so the detector noise is one of the limitation in detecting this signal. And the second limitation is the lens CMB E modes. So the E modes gets lensed and they contribute as a noise to this primordial signal. And the third challenge is that the B mode signal is subdominant to the astrophysical foregrounds that are present in the microwave range. So this is what my talk will more focus on. And so just to spend a few seconds here in the figure, here you can see on the x-axis, there is the frequency range. And on the y, you have the power of the B mode signals in the microwave range. And the gray bands kind of show all the frequency bands in the CMB Bharat. And as you can see, that the total foreground is always dominating over the, so R equals to even for R equals to 0.06, this is dominating over the CMB signal. And this is more challenging to separate. So just for a perspective, when we look at the CMB temperature maps, we have a window from 90 gigahertz to 130 gigahertz, where the temperature signal dominates over all the other microwave signals. So this is so obviously this component separation is more challenging. So one of the ways to kind of improve upon the component performance of component separation methods is by increasing the range over which the frequencies range of frequency at which the signal is observed. Because how the component separation methods work is they look at the different properties of the spectral properties of different components, and then they use it to extract the CMB signal. So obviously, if we observe over a wide frequency range, it should improve the performance. So a little bit about the CMB foregrounds, which we are concerned about here. First is the synchrotron emission, which is due to the cosmic electrons present in our galactic medium. And its ACD, the spectrum, is commonly modeled as a power law, which are given by these two parameters, where this is the amplitude and this is the power by which it varies over the frequency. And the thermal dust emission is caused by when aspherical dust grains are get aligned along the galactic magnetic fields, and they give out directional emissions. And its ACD is modeled commonly by a modified black body spectrum, where the TD gives the temperature of the black body, and this is modified by a power law given by this beta parameter. So briefly about the CMB Bharat. So this is a proposal given to the ISRO. And one of the primary goals, it has many other scientific goals, but one of the primary goals is measurement of the CMB B mode. And actually, as already Mayuri had discussed, one of the ways it will achieve it is by using huge number of detectors, around 8,000 detectors in its detector plane. And this will help in reducing the detector noise. So it will have a wide frequency range from 28 to 850 gigahertz. And for comparison, Planck observed the polarization sky from 30 to 350 gigahertz, and Lightbird is going to observe in 30 to 450 gigahertz. And PICO is one of the ambitious project like CMB Bharat, and it will observe in the range of 23 to 900 gigahertz. And another key difference with Lightbird I would like to mention here is Lightbird aims to observe the CMB sky at a very lower resolution, around half a degree. But according to CMB Bharat proposal, it will go up to 2 to 3 arc minutes for some of the frequency bands. So this is the main motivation behind our work. We are asking the question that, and this is related to whether we will be able to extract the thermal dust. We will remove the thermal dust component. So we ask that does increasing the frequency range over the higher frequency part, because that is where the thermal dust dominates, will increase our sensitivity towards the R. So we are asking these questions because there are certain trade-offs, as you saw in the previous figure, that the CMB signal exponentially reduces as we go to higher frequencies, and also the dust signal for some of the dust models, they become very complicated at higher frequency. So in one of the study by Hensley and Bull, they showed that for some of the very complicated dust models, we actually do not see any improvement. Rather our result becomes worse if we include higher frequency range. So here we have used different thermal dust models with different level of complexities. I will not go into this, but I have used 3 models, and basically they take into account that the dust component in the sky can be of different, they can have different composition, or the magnetic field along our line of sight may be aligned differently, and this will also add up differently. So basically what we are saying is the modeling, what they do is they modify over the most simplest modified black body spectrum. Now this is the methodology. What we do is first we simulate the sky, which consists of the CMB foreground and the noise at eco-frequency band. Then we use a non-parametric component separation method, NILC. Now in the literature, there are many frequency component separation methods. Some are parametric, which takes assumptions about the foreground models, and some are non-parametric, and some are also something in between. So from the component separation method, we can extract the CMB signal. And since we already know the sky simulations, one of the advantage of using NILCs, we can also accurately determine what is the residual foreground and noise in this CMB map. After this, we mask away the galactic region and we get the angular power spectrum, and from this, we estimate the R. So these are the results of our work. So here I have just first shown that if we are using all 20 frequency channels from 28 to 850 gigahertz, how well are we able to recover the power spectrum? So how much time is it? So as you can see, this is the theoretical power spectrum, and our data coincides with the theoretical input. And the blue line shows what is the what is the power if the tensor mode is R equals to 10 to the power minus 3, and the magenta is for residual noise, and this is for residual foreground. And you can see that for M1 and M2, that we have a region where we can actually the 10 to the power minus 3 power spectra dominates over any residual foreground, but it is not true for the more complex M3 model. And just to mention here, in our previous work, we have done the forecast for CMB Bharat, and we have seen that we can actually detect up to 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 at 3 sigma. And with lensing, delensing, we can improve this measurement. So coming to the results. So here what this is the main result of our paper. Here I have plotted all the powers, residual power spectrum when we change the frequency range. So the lower limit starts from 28, then we can go to 850, 700, and these are only 6, and we have 9 dust dominated channels. So we have checked for all of them. And what we find is, just to give you an overview, this is the plot of the average residual, and what we see that up to 390 gigahertz, we do see some improvement. We see actually huge improvement up to 50 to 55%. But and when we go up to 520 gigahertz, the residual reduces only by around 15 to 20%. And then if we go higher from 600, if we include this highest channel 600, 700, and 850, we see a very minute improvement, and that is also reflected in the in our calculation of the R and its uncertainty. You can see that there is very little change over here when we use all the 20 frequency channels. So just to summarize, separating the CMB B-mode component from the thermal dust foreground is one of the major challenges. We have explored if increasing the frequency range over the higher side will actually improve our results. And we find that up to 520 gigahertz, we do see some improvement, but 600 to 850, it's not significant. Thank you.
Thank you very much.